City Arts. This is your third time exhibiting here. How do you feel about it?
I feel great. Yeah, I'm one of the spotlight artists that they have. So this is my third year with the contract with City Arts, and every year is a different show. This one is a lot more oil painting.
So that's the main difference this year. What was the theme, like the subject matter for the past 2 years?
The first year was a lot of larger pieces that were different colors as the base, but mostly a lot of drawing on top of them and not much of like color palettes and mixed colors for them. So it was more of like a monotone. And then the second year was different places around like Orlando and just like a more quiet stillness. This one is more of the same place, so it's more, I guess, concentrated.
You would say it's like a study of that place, different times of the day. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like a training ground for me. So I could be at different places, but it's able to be a place I can return to and know. And also I think about it as like a compass. So with nature, I see how the sun is corresponding from day to day and how it changes and the alignment. So it's a place I can return to and have it be as a base for it.
So talking about training, I read that starting your career, you spent like the first 5 years just drawing and perfectioning the technique. So what are your comments on this? How was the process? I know that off the camera I comment to you, I ask you the question, what did you enjoy most, right? Drawing or painting, so.
Yeah, I went to school at UCF and studied drawing there. And they talk a lot about the process. So in art, a lot of times they say that people focus on the product of art and not the process of making the art. So I think that is one thing that I always keep in my head is the process, that it's not about a product that it's creating, but it's the process of creating it. And so every day I'm drawing and it's building up the process and being more familiar. And I think my mind, it's like the neurons, they're linking, they're getting more and more familiar with the synapses of how this is drawing, it's connecting the same way, so.
And this whole connection, the drawing, the technique, the developing like all these skills, let's say, you have talked before about a connection between the eye, the heart, and the hand.
Yeah.
You wanna talk a little bit more about that?
It's like an Asian proverb that said a great painter has 3 things: the eye, the heart, and the hand. So I think that all great painters, they have all 3 of them, but sometimes one artist will exemplify one characteristic over the other ones. So I think about which one they kind of focus on. Sometimes it's working from the imagination and they're working more with like their hand and then like their heart and their hand, and then they see it later on, versus working from life. You see what's in front of you and then your hand follows your eye. So it's kind of like a different way of working, like one or the other. So.
Excellent, it's very interesting, and we're in love with your art.
Yeah.
When walking around, that I had like the opportunity to meet you, talk a little bit more with you, you were explaining to me, and at some point in our conversation, you were talking about you developing a new art movement, and you told me that you named it New Wave Impressionism, right?
Yeah.
So why you named it this way? Like, what's your inspiration? The old masters of Impressionism. Why is it New Wave? So
yeah, I think that the Impressionists of the 1880s, Monet, Renoir, Degas, those artists, they were wanting to depict the time and the place that they were in and not the antiquity. And I think that Impressionism is as valid today as back then, as long as the artist, the painter, draftsman is portraying what they see in front of them and is accurate to that time and place. So a lot of times when I make a drawing of a coffee shop or of a restaurant, I draw people on their phones, because I think, okay, like what is different about today's day and age versus in the 1880s of what people are doing and their posture, their stances. So that's a bit of the new wave Impressionism. And I had a mentor, lineage. He said that once you start being able to see reality and depict reality, then you can start bending it, distorting it, and presenting it back to people how you want them to see your own version of reality. So I think about that is that having control of your surroundings and being able to depict it, but then also add your own emotions into it is kind of the new wave part. And it has different influences in cartoons like Nickelodeon's Rocko Modern Life or Rugrats or Cartoon Network, these different shows that people, and the aesthetic of those shows, also video games, kind of this video game aesthetic, looking at the world through that perspective that we're raised on in this generation.
So in this series, poolside, right? You make a study, you sit there, you said like it's from like the view from your apartment or the pool at your apartment where you live.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the palette, the color palette.
The palette? Most of these paintings, they were all created in like Altrusco, like in one go. So I didn't return. Some of them I went back to the same location, but it's about that day and what the atmosphere is like in that day. And this series, Poolside, has 36 pieces. And each piece is a little bit different, being able to experiment with color palettes. So being able to have the same subject, then I could change the other factors as like a control. So the subject is the same, but then I change the other things surrounding the subject in order to create variations of it.
It's very nice, and it's very interesting to see how the bold colors, some neon colors, and how in the end like it's so harmonious, every single one. You were talking a little bit about like depicting in those scenes like the moon, the sun, times when they were aligned.
I think about astrology and it kind of has to do with just what is in front of you, what is not just what you're making up, but what you see. So I look, where's the sun at, and find out, and kind of in the compass kind of stands, okay, the sun is here, is controlling the light, the reflections in the water. I like the pools because it has different elements, like it has air, and it has fire of the sun, and it has water, and it has the earth. So it's like all these different elements of nature in the same composition. And it was influenced a lot by Monet's like Rouen Cathedral and the Poplar series of having the same subject.
Yeah, same subject, different times of the day, and how the light changes your perception. So I read also, looking and following your work, that you said at some point that you wanted to be known for your plein air painting.
Yeah.
So what's that fascinates you about it?
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Being John Malkovich. Yeah, I think it's funny when he goes to the agent that he has, and he says like, okay, from now on I want to be known for puppetry. I want the name John Malkovich to be synonymous with puppetry. I thought that was kind of funny, and I think about like, what do I want to be known for, or what do I want to focus on? And plein air painting is what I keep going back to, because there's something very calming about nature, something that is very like. The more I understand different colors, it changes the way I see my whole life, because then the more I understand it, it's not just about when I'm painting it, it's about every day when I'm looking at nature. I have a better understanding of it, and I have a bigger appreciation for it because I'm studying it through plein air painting. I also think about the Beatles song, like the Paperback Writer, where it's like that, but like I want to be a plein air painter.
Yeah. And to wrap up a little bit this interview, and thank you again for being here and explaining. It's amazing, this work, and hopefully people will come visit, see what you're doing. The first time I met you, after our conversation, you kindly handed me a sticker. You told me it's like a holographic sticker.
Yeah.
And it was later on that I realized that there was like a jackalope in there.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, like I never knew about the existence of this mythological, and also why a jackalope as your artist logo?
I saw the jackalope a long time ago, I think like 9 years ago, and I was using that image I came up with as a way that people could see my work, but not be associated with just a name, as like a logo. So I was working on, I was writing a lot of poems, and I didn't want to just put my name on the poem, so I came up with that logo, and I would put that logo on it so people could recognize it was the same author. But I think that a lot of times when people read certain literary piece, they just look to the name and go, oh, this is good or bad based on what they already preconceive about it. And I didn't want people to just look at the name. I wanted them to look at the work first, and then afterwards have something to associate it with. So.
Very, very interesting. Thank you so much.
Very
It's been
welcome.
a pleasure. congratulations and wish you all the success.
All right, thank you, Maria.
Stemberger.